Dr. Snap. Hi Chris, thanks for the great videos. Hubbard claimed that by doing Dianetic and Scientology processes, ordinary people could become super beings. According to Mr. Hubbard, a Dianetic clear is able to completely recall everything which has ever happened to him or anything he has ever studied, able to do mental computations, such as those of chess, for example, which a normal would do in a half an hour in 10 or 15 seconds, able to think spontaneously, not merely vocally, has a vigor, persistence, and tenacity to life much higher than anyone has thought possible, etc. According to Mr. Hubbard, an operating Thetan can levitate objects, read minds, view remote locations and events, communicate over long distances, predict the future, cure himself of serious illnesses like cancer, remember past lives, etc. So Chris, here's my question. Do Dianetic clears and Scientology OTs have these godlike powers? If not, why don't Scientologists see they don't have them, wise up, and leave? Hubbard did say all those things are possible with Dianetics and with Scientology. He promised the world and beyond. And people get into Dianetics and Scientology because they want those to be real and they want to experience those, and they are willing to pay good money to achieve those kind of godlike powers. So everybody who comes in wants those things, and therefore they want to believe in them. They're invested in it, especially when they start investing a lot of money in it. And that's important because the more you're investing your time and your energy and your life and your money in something, the more willing you are to believe that that would be something you're going to get back. And the less interested you're going to be in taking a hike if it's not manifesting, right? The more chances you're going to give it, the more credit you're going to give to this organization to make good on its promises to you. So that's sort of the mindset that people are in when they're going into these things. And what happens is they start going through the Dianetics auditing or the Scientology auditing, and basically there's two kinds of people here. There's the people who will basically believe anything you tell them, and then there's the people who eventually wise up and they do leave. And a great number of people who have left Dianetics and Scientology have done so because it became manifest to them that it was not delivering what it promised. I mean, Jason Begay talked about this in his first big long interview when he had gotten out, and he'd said, show me a fucking clear, right? Like, where are they? There aren't any because they don't exist. But, and he had gotten fed up with it, and he finally saw that and he left. It usually seems to take a little bit more than that in order to get somebody to go, but not actually true. There are a lot of people who just look at it and go, yeah, no, this isn't really happening, and they go. Those people don't necessarily feel persecuted or, have had something done to them by the church, so they don't necessarily speak out, so you never really hear from those people, but they exist. And then you have the people who will basically believe anything. And so what the church tells them is that you haven't achieved those abilities yet, but they're coming when you do your next level, right? You just have to do the next level. You just have to keep going, which means more money, more time, more energy, more sacrifice. But what happens is they have some auditing or they do some training in Scientology and they feel a little better. They have a euphoric experience. They have an adrenaline rush. They have some new realization about something, and oh wow, I never looked at life that way before. There's so much truth here in what Hubbard is saying in this book. I never thought of that before. So because they get a little bit of a gain, right, that doesn't really last that long. I mean, within a day or two, it's forgotten about. They're moving on. If you were to go to any Scientologist and read them their success stories or their wins or their gains from years earlier, they would have been, one for one, I guarantee you, they'd be like, oh wow, yeah, did I say that? Like they wouldn't even remember. The exceptions are few. So you have people who are having this succession of small gains, small bits of euphoria, and they credit that with so much more, that it means so much more than what it really means. All it means is that something nice happened to them once, and it's gone. And And once it's gone, it's not, you know, it's not permanent. It doesn't stay with you. Your life isn't different. You can't now have the spiritual ability to levitate objects. Nobody in Scientology can do any of that crap, because that's not what Scientology does. So, but because they have this series or succession of these wins and these gains, they keep giving credit to Scientology and to Hubbard, and they keep wanting to believe that there's going to be more coming. And so they stick with it, and they stick with it, and they stick with it. And they're told, you know, that the whole con is built on this idea that it's just over the next hill. The big gains are right over the next horizon, right? You just got to keep going. And they have all kinds of stupid sayings in Scientology to keep people going, like you have to be OT to go OT, right? Meaning you have to, basically what that really means is you have to make really big sacrifices and make it go right by paying a lot of money, way more money than you would ever imagine you'd be paying out for this kind of crap. That's what it means to be OT in Scientology, is you're making it go right to pay them a lot of money. And by doing so, that's how you go OT, right? Which is really, if you think about it for a second, is the most illogically backwards thing you'd ever have, because if you can be OT, why would you need to go OT? You're already being OT. Like, you know, how's this supposed to work? So anyway, that's kind of a little bit of what goes on with that, and why people persist in it when they really shouldn't be.